Hey everyone, welcome to TAOTalks. This is season 2, episode 3. I think we're on episode 3 now. First time doing this over Zoom here. Today's conversation has been really about this space that we have. Jesse's in Austin, I'm in New York, and we really reflect on how that journey has been. And then Jesse has talked about what his vacation was like, hanging out with his old friend that he hasn't seen in a little while. And so I think you'll really enjoy that. Let me know if, Jesse, you want to add something.
No, we talked about relationships, change, growing, chaos and order always.
Right.
It was a good conversation. I'm looking forward to us growing into this. I actually think that the distance and space of this will actually produce some kind of interesting conversations as we get comfortable with it.
Yeah. Hopefully, everyone enjoys this. Check it out. Thanks.
Thank you.
This is TAOTalks. T-A-O. The art of Tao. TAOTalks. The art of exploring life. TAOTalks. The art of being. TAOTalks. Philosophical musing. TAOTalks. Ancient wisdom for modern beings. TAOTalks. The art of understanding. TAOTalks. Universal laws. TAOTalks. Timeless insights. Welcome to TAOTalks. T-A-O. The art of. How you doing, Jesse?
I'm good.
Yeah? Good to see you.
Springtime in Texas, man. It's beautiful weather, beautiful time. How are you?
I'm good, man. Good to see you. I wanted to say that first. And then I want to say when you texted me yesterday, I actually thought about you because I happened to be in Hell's Kitchen. I checked out the climbing gym, and then when you texted me, I was like, oh, I wonder if that's what he's talking about, because you were saying there's a gym that you go to there as well. But that was the first time I got to climb out here.
What climbing gym was it? What was the name of it?
I think it was like, I'm not remembering the name. Nah.
Was it inside of a building? Like inside of a large apartment building, and you had to go second floor was where the entrance to the
No.
actually
This was just from the ground. Like you can enter. And then it was in the basement actually.
So
the lobby was like on the first, on the street level, and then you take the stairs down, and then that's where the bouldering and top roping, not top roping, but auto belay.
I think I know the gym you're talking about, and I've been there before.
It's
I forget the name of it.
Yeah, it's a little bit north. I mean, not technically Hell's Kitchen, but
does it have Central in the name of it?
I think so.
Rock Gym, something like that.
Yeah, Rock Central Gym or something like that. It's three-word thing.
Definitely have a couple other gyms that I would recommend. That one's a pretty nice gym. I think they got a decent size bouldering section. I'm not the top roper, so they obviously have more top roping at that gym. There's a small little, the gym that my mom's apartment in Hell's Kitchen. I can send that to you separately. I forget the name of it.
Yeah.
It's actually a part of a pretty large fitness center.
Kind of like
they got everything. They got everything.
Bouldering project. Yeah.
I would say even more like a YMCA or a Lifetime Fitness. Like they got the spa, the sauna. They got everything, all the classes, and then the climbing gym is like this little separate building within the building, up on an outdoor, on a rooftop. And it's just a little bit separate from the rest of the gym, so it still has that climber kind of feel to it, and not like major corporate gym.
Yeah.
I like that spot. That's a cool little spot to climb. And then Dumbo is an interesting down under the Manhattan Bridge.
Yeah.
And I think they have a
Manhattan Bridge, right? Yeah.
There's that one, and I think they have another location as well. So that place is rough, man. That's like I would put that as like the outdoor beach culture type of climbing.
Interesting.
Like the holds are not they're not as friendly to your hands. It's like weathered outdoor. You don't have thick padding. It's recycled shredded tires, and it's only about like that thick, so you don't want to fall.
Yeah.
So that place is cool. Like it's kind of worth going and checking out as well.
Yeah, there's a couple of gyms, and I'll eventually kind of do like a I'll make it to like kind of all of them different ones. But yeah, it was cool. It was cool to be able to like move. Um, and then I mean, my experience from that one gym though is like definitely it's different than what we're used to down in Texas. So, but nonetheless, I thought about you for sure, and then it was good to hear from you, and good to see you right now too.
Good.
Yeah,
Well, it's good to see you. How's the new location?
it's good. It's gorgeous out here, for sure. The temperatures are kind of going up and down. So during the week, we'll have like we'll get lucky, and like couple of days we'll get up to it has gone up to 70s, and it's just amazing. Get to bring out my sandals, you know. Um, and but most of the times I'm wearing shoes, so there is that change as well because I'm moving around quite a lot. So my steps have increased for sure compared to in Austin because I'm like going in person for my work, and then um, even for groceries and things like that, I'm walking around a lot here, and so that's been great. But it's in shoes, so then on those days when I'm like break out the sandals, I'm like, oh man, my feet hurt a little bit, and it's good though because it's like the feet need both. They need to be like equipped with both of those shoe types. And then there's hills here, so I've got like a steep like decline just going down the street. So if I want to make it out this kind of neighborhood, I have to like going down is no problem. Coming up, it's like okay, that's like an afterburner right before getting to the getting home. But it's beautiful out here. I think I'm at a three week mark right now. So I've been here for 3 weeks. Um, Most of it is just I'm figuring out my new routine here. I've got a short-term place here, and so it's nice. It's furnished and stuff, so I don't have to do much. And that's given me a lot of comfort. Got a full kitchen and all that stuff too, so I'm able to cook things and not have to like have a drastic change per se based on compared to what I had before. Um, And then, yeah, I'm going into work 2 to 3 times a week, working from here, the rest. And then just exploring different areas here. I'm going to work using sometimes shuttle or like using taxi. And it's cool to like just talk to strangers in that way as well. It's like um, this past week, I was on a I was in the ride, and then we were going like just by the one of the main streets here. And he was like, "Oh, have you seen this movie?" Because it was like shot here. I was like, "Oh, I think he's talking about Sleepy Hollow," because that's like the common thing. Because it was like it takes place in Sleepy Hollow. I happen to kind of live nearby there, and he's like, "No, no, no, no. It's like I think it's called," and they couldn't remember. And it's like it's called The Family Man with Nicolas Cage. And he was just like, "Oh, like it was shot like there. There was like a moment of the movie was shot there." So it was just like just getting to meet strangers and these random like stuff. So I ended up watching the movie, and it was like an interesting movie too because in the movie they're making a move from the city to like
Oh, cool.
somewhere in Jersey, and I was like, wait, come on, man, like this. um, um, but yeah, it's interesting nonetheless.
The spot you got looks pretty nice. Looks like you're in a little loft.
Yeah, yeah, this is like a third floor of the house, and um, yeah, man, this is new in that way too because all the structures and everything is like different here. Like there's this old houses. This was built in 1893.
Oh,
Like
wow.
to crazy. It's crazy to think like I'm a 93 born. Like I mean, like it's 100 years before I was even born. It's like it's probably housed like two generations. I mean, like one person can go from 0 to 100, and then
Hmm.
I'm still at yeah. So this is like on the third floor of that, and I've got a 1 bedroom, 1 bath with kitchen and living space here. And then I've got a balcony here that's looking at the Hudson River, and that view just never really gets old. It's just always like present, like the water and the hills on the other side of it is it's you just feel it, even if I'm not like I could be looking away from it. There's just that feel to it.
That's cool. Um, the age of the place. Man, I was in Oregon last week. Southern Oregon, and we were kind of driving through some, checking out some of the smaller little towns, and you drive through a little town, and it's like the buildings are still original to kind of like the first rush, Oregon, like the gold rush. You go through and you can see, even though the road is now paved and there's cars driving on it, you can still feel like a dirt road and horses. Like everything still has like, there's the saloon and like, because they're still large. A lot of it's still largely the same. Architecturally, it's still the same buildings.
Yeah.
It's kind of a cool thing to see the difference of how things were built then compared to how things are built now.
Yeah.
My house that I live in was built in 1979, and I can't imagine, even with good maintenance and repair, that 100 years from now that it would still be a livable house.
Yeah.
Without being just kind of demolished and rebuilt. But you're in a place where it's like that place could probably another 100 years from now, it could still have another. It'd still have people in it. Like, obviously some repairs along the way, but just to see, and part of that is you're in a part of the country where it was all shipbuilding. So a lot of the houses are built like ships, like old, early 19th century houses.
Right.
Whenever I go to Maine, I notice that because it's like the shipbuilders also built their own houses.
Yeah.
So it's like the houses are built like massive ships that can weather just about any storm. Different outlook of why we build things and how we build them to survive, versus now, house like this. Yeah.
Climates are different too, and it's like, I mean, there's a difference in architecture and things like houses down there like don't have basements and things like that. And so there's these logistical things that like make up to what the house is in a climate like in Texas compared to the climate like up here, for sure. And I think, I don't know, like the town is like a historic town, Tarrytown and Sleepy Hollow here and stuff. So definitely don't see like cookie cutter templates also. And that's like a new thing. Cause in Austin, that's like, okay.
Yeah.
Like there are templates there. Even like where my parents live up in New Hampshire, like in their neighborhood, there is like differences, but the houses in general are the same templates. And those were built in probably right around the same time as what you were saying about your house. And so, yeah, man, it's cool here. I had the wife come and visit last week. So she came up, for the weekend, and then, so we got to like kind of just visit different towns. And there's basically just series of small towns, right next to each other, like right on the river. And so the town starts and begins like that, like in 10 minutes, like it's over.
Yeah.
There's a new town, like there's another town. And so we got to just explore different towns, kind of feel out, the energies of it. And that way it helps us kind of screen out where to look for like the apartment. So that was cool.
So it's not like you're not even looking at neighborhoods to live in. You're looking at like a specific town to live in. And I guess
moment, because it's just optionality like that, because
everything's
the
close
towns
by.
are labeled as like the village of. So I'm talking like it's not even like, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's a village. Like let's get that straight kind of thing. Because from here, like I can walk to Tarrytown. From Tarrytown, 10 minutes later is another town, Irvington, like, and so it extends out like that in all different directions, and they're all just like smaller communities of towns, and they're very small. So it's like, it's not even really like suburbs like that.
Interesting.
So we're definitely, we're exploring all of that, like where it's like, okay, like, I think this won't like, from a work commute and all that, it's like, oh, like any of this is possible. So where would we want to stay? That kind of stuff.
What's it like being decoupled from a car? Have you had any moments of like, I want to go somewhere, and it's like, oh, or are you just finding you're thinking about how you spend your time and going places is just like, how has that changed? Because in Austin, you were kind of in a walkable area for a lot of the things that you were doing, but at the same time, realistically, like you just have to have a car to be a social, like to do most things in Austin, unless you live directly downtown. So how's that been?
Yeah, so I mean, immediately when I came here, I it's so first on the superficial level, like I can always take an Uber. So like that's like okay, no problem. That said, there's definitely like psychological barriers to going places. But first thing that I want to share is that actually in the beginning when I came here, probably the first day or second day or something like that, it actually hit me because I was like, oh, I've done this because I had moved to California and just like without a job, I like crashed at my best friend Chad's place in San Diego. Didn't have a car, and I would have to rely on like Ubers. I would have to rely on like my friend to take me places if we wanted to even go explore like different parts of towns. And then I ended up getting a job there, and I would take the public transport. So it'd be like it'd be a 15-20 minute drivable commute, but then it would turn into a 1 hour commute because it's just the bus routes and all that stuff. So I'd done that 10 years ago, and so there's a little bit of that here, and so that familiarity is definitely kicking in, especially in that beginning. I didn't even think about that. It took me like being in the spot here, in the situation, to kind of realize, oh, like we've done this. This is cool. So in that way, I didn't feel that much of friction. I was like, you know what, this is what it is right now, and um, we're gonna make the best of this. Like I actually don't really miss having a car. Like I there's something about that. It's like kind of nice. I'm like, man, like I don't like I'll be okay. Like I don't wanna like I might not want to have like my individual car per se. And stuff here is actually where I'm located right now. I'm in love with because I'm like 15-minute walkable distance to the train station, like the
Mhm.
Tarrytown train station, and that train could take me straight to New York City. So I've been going to New York City like every single weekend. It just turned out that way. It's turning out like that. And then from the train station, we have shuttles to work. So that's what I mean. It's like I could walk to the train station and then the shuttle will take me to work. So I could do that. So yes, there is a similarity in that way that like if I drove to work, it'd take me 8 minutes. But now it takes me like maybe 30 minutes, 35 minutes. But I look at it like, man, like those are steps that I get to get in. Like in the morning, maybe in the afternoon, I'm definitely walking way more.
I there's an aspect of the being carless that really appeals. Um, I would love. I think I have maybe it's a little bit of like a lo-fi fantasy of I'd love to have like be dumb phone and not and require a car and live in a place in which everything that I need is accessible, so I don't feel that I need those things. Like that really
Yeah,
appeals.
yeah,
And I love the freedom
yeah,
that a
yeah,
car gives. So there's
for
like
sure.
it's an
Yeah,
interesting push and pull. Uh, but there's a little, so I have a little jealousy of what you get to experience because that actually sounds like a really uh,
yeah.
cool thing,
No, and I think,
especially for that part of the world.
I mean, I think I'm like looking, of course, I'm gonna look forward to having our car here, but I think it's gonna be in a parked state way more than in Austin, at least
Yeah.
from my point of view. And then it will change too. Like once my family's all here, and like we will probably use the car to go explore like stuff farther out.
Right.
And like that will be great. So like not having a car at all, like nah, that I would probably feel a lot of resistance to that.
Hmm.
But having a car, then it's like okay, cool. Like we're just gonna have like wheels on our feet, and we can go like at different places. And I actually logistically it worked out that when my wife was coming in here, she flew into John JFK airport, and I was like, oh, like I'll come pick you up, like even in the train and stuff, we could do all that. And then I was like, nah, like we're gonna rent the car anyways because we were gonna go explore different like areas and stuff. So I'm like, I'm just gonna pick you up like in the car. So I drove like to JFK from here, and that was my first time driving in the city, which
Oh
is
man.
cool. Which was cool, right? It was a Saturday morning, so we're not talking the weekday. but it's still New York City. Like the roads are rough. Like there's cars like you gotta pay attention like all the time, and it's narrow streets. Like people driving like idiots too. Like they'll cut you off, all that stuff. And there was like
Are they driving like idiots, or do they know how to? Are they?
Not some men, they're just like, I'm like, dude, like if I didn't brake, like there was gonna be a kind of like a collision, but they were definitely driving like, nah, we're fine, bro. Like this is all good.
This is the way it works. Yeah, it's it's organized chaos is what it is.
No, for sure. Like for the most part, it's like that. But there are some that I'm like, bro, like that's triggering. Like you got me on the edge here. And like I don't drive like a granny. Like, but I also don't want to be on my edge all the time. Like kind of thing, you know. But so there was a romance for me because I love driving, and I love driving in cities specifically. And that was my first time driving in New York City, and I'm like, holy crap, like this is insane. And coming back out of that, I'm like, honestly, like I love to just, even if train would like add like 40 minutes to my commute, I just get on the train, because once I'm in the train, like I could just do my thing, listen to music, like watch video, whatever I wanted, read books. Like I that's like hassle free to me, and that is that little romance that you're talking about.
Anything you want to move into?
I don't have some anything specific in my mind right now. We can explore. We can explore though. Let me dig here a little bit. New relationship. Feels like I'm in a new relationship, you know?
With job? With the new
No, with my partner too. I mean, so yes, job, yes,
Ooh.
but with my partner. It's a new relationship, man. Something that I keep saying to myself over and over. Both me and my wife actually is we gotta let our hearts break. So in that way, that's kind of what I mean by like a new relationship, is because, man, since we've been together, we're coming up on 8 years now. We spent the pandemic together. We work remote jobs. I mean, we were together like all the time. So this long distance relationship that we're doing right now, even though in the short term, we've never done this before. And so the first 2 weeks, it was like, yeah, we're doing this video call like all the time, and calls and texts and all that stuff. And it's been great, but it's obviously new. It's like, it's new. We both feel that we're like there for each other, but it's definitely not the same, you know? And so in that way, for me, it feels like a new relationship, because we're like going into a newer thing, even though it might be a short-term thing. It's gonna change us for sure. Like we definitely get to like appreciate one another way more. And then letting our hearts break comes down to like this, where like she came up, and so I'm like, oh, I'm excited. Like I can't wait to like explore this city. Or like before that, before she even came up, like I went to New York City, and I'm just like, man, like I'm missing my partner here, because like this is like, I'm walking around here, and I've done this with her before, like just a year before, and I see myself doing this, and we will get to do this also in the future. But the present tense is it's that the fact is that she's not here. And then, yeah, so she came, it was like excitement, cool. And then yesterday she left. So there's that thing where it's like, oh man, like, there's going to be that separation again. And so that's been really new and interesting. And it comes with the ebb and flow of emotions. And we both talked about this, and we both relate to it as like, we really actually are experiencing our heart grow. Like like that's the only way I can like kind of pinpoint what that feeling feels on the heart, is like, it's tough, but there is that love, the capacity of love, or some love. It feels like it's expanding.
Having gotten to sit with you and your wife before you left, I'm very impressed with the two of you. Everything so I've had some interesting conversations that are kind of resonant with what you're actually experiencing and going through. I think I was actually talking with my partner just yesterday, or the past couple days about it. As well as, so I got to go visit my best friend in Oregon, him and his wife, who I grew up with him. We, from
And
the
it had
age of
been a while,
5,
right?
and it'd been, 5 years since I had really
Yeah.
seen him. I think I went and visited him. My son was 13. He's now 18. So yes, 5 years. They have another kid. So I got to meet their second kid, who's 2. And they've been together now for 20 years. 20 years, and they have a 7-year-old and a 2-year-old. So it's like a lot of time that they were together before having kids, and then so it's like the stages of relationship, and just talking about like how they work, and you're talking about the breaking heart. You have to kind of be willing to have a broken heart on a regular basis.
Yeah.
It's like for partnership to work, you have to break up with your partner on a regular basis.
Yeah. You say that.
Right.
You said that. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and it's like, what does breaking up mean? It doesn't mean like, I'm breaking up with you and I never want to see you again. It's like, it's you have to break up with the former version of your partner that you're holding.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to break up with the former version of you that they're holding. And that's a really hard thing to do, because we hold on to the perception of what we like, who you are based on who you were.
Yeah.
But as human beings, we're constantly changing and evolving. So,
Right.
who I was when I met you is not who I am today. I'm a completely different person. And if you're still holding me as I was and not seeing me as I am, we're going to have some problems. Like, that's going to create some schisms,
Right.
because it's not,
It's like,
you're not,
who are you? Yeah.
you're not
No
seeing me.
perspective.
You're not hearing me. You don't know who I am. So, and that's a tricky thing, because, our, I like to, one of the things I like about our modern technology of AI is it lets us kind of get an understanding of actually how we work. These large language models are predictive models, and they're predicting the future based on what
Story.
came before.
Yeah.
So it's got to hold on to who you were in order to try to predict who you're going to become. But we're constantly changing, evolving, which means there's just a natural fault line, a natural failure in how those models work. And the large language models are designed based on how we work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Robots, when we build robots, are designed how our neurology works to help us move. We're just putting ourselves into these tech. So it's a kind of an exploration and a study of who we are and how we work. It's like, why do our large language models fail and create hallucinations if it's not because of this fault of being able to hold on to who we were in order to predict who we're going to become?
Yeah. Yeah. You're saying there's gonna be this like error, like, because it's like, that's not a linear process where you can't just fit something as like components into an equation that predicts this is how we'll be in 5 years or five minutes later.
Yeah.
But it's
I
kind
got
of
2
interesting because
dots,
it's
and
like,
all I got to do is point. You're going to be here.
Truth.
Yeah.
Like, generally there could be truth, but there's always this chance of like, hey, we're not gonna know the exact future.
Right.
What did you say? Sorry.
I mean, the linear equations, like, I got 2 dots, I can predict the third dot's going to be here. And it's like, no, with humans, it's like, it's going to be it could be somewhere in this area, and there's a chance it might be actually over here.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
99% chance that, yes, it's going to keep going over there, but that 1%, it could be anywhere on the scatter plot.
Right. Right.
And if you get to emotionally set in your predictive models being linear, and this is who you've been your whole life, and then all of a sudden you're showing up as somebody different, I get upset because I can't let go of who you were to see who you are. And it's a delicate thing, because how do you break up with somebody? How do you break up with them on a regular basis in a way that is healthy and maintains a partnership?
Yeah.
Because every time you break up, there is that potential of
Going too far.
If I'm breaking up, I'm doing this. I'm separating a little bit. Right. And if I'm separating, well, I could keep going in this direction. So I have to make, not just me, it's not just me making a choice. We both have to make a choice to continue to come back together after each breakup.
Yeah.
And but as you have that over time, like every time you do that, it's a leveling up of relationship. You have more depth of experience together. You have more things to draw upon. I was actually the conversation just yesterday was actually talking about with my partner about distance. When she was in her 20s, she had a long distance relationship with a man in England. And every time she talks about it, it's obvious that the only reason she had a relationship with somebody in England is because it was romantic to have a relationship with somebody in England, but there was not actually a relationship worth having.
Yeah.
And so I was talking about that in terms of like, a long distance relationship can work if there's substance to the relationship that is worth like,
Preserve.
building and preserving. And if you have that, then you will go off into your own worlds and, not in your own worlds, in that distance where you're at, you're still very much together, but you're separated by location.
Yeah.
But everything else is still like the substance of the relationship, the neurological connection, right? You're pair bonded. You're still drawn together. You're still tied together.
Yeah.
If you don't have substance to your relationship, that's really hard. Like, well, that's really hard to build upon with distance. And I think there's something uniquely beneficial in a partnership where missing your partner is really, really good. Like spending time away and missing them is a really important part of a relationship.
Yeah.
And missing them, it doesn't mean that you have to like be in different parts of the world or the country. It can be you're in the same house, but you're in separate rooms, and it's like, I
haven't seen you all day. Like,
I haven't seen you all day. Yeah, I like when I'm away from you and I see you, it's like, oh, I light up because I missed you. I miss when you're not around. And that's I think it's an uncomfortable thing to miss somebody, and so we tend to like try to avoid that and try to ignore. Try to always feel. I'm missing somebody. I'm going to distract myself with something else.
Yeah.
But to really miss someone, like I think that brings a richness to the relationship.
The the movie I was telling you about that was shot here and stuff. It's called The Family Man. If I think you guys would like it. Yeah, you should watch it.
Okay.
But really, the premise is that this person is in corporate America and has made it, has everything that he's ever dreamed of, running this big company and all that stuff. And then, but then he, through some kind of magic or something, he gets to experience like a different life, what life could be. And in that version, he's a family man. And so he's just at this pull like, whoa, I don't belong here. Because I guess he still has the memory of like who he was, like, in the corporate America, whatever. And then, yeah, eventually he gets back to that and he's missing the other part, like of whatever he experienced. And so I don't want to give away too much, especially if you guys gonna watch it, but there was this layer incorporated in that as well. And so me and my partner actually watched that together while she was here. And it's like, it's kind of, it was just felt very serendipitous because it's like, we wouldn't have come across this movie if it wasn't for this stranger in this random like Uber ride. And they're like, oh, it was like that building, that's where it was shot. And I'm like, okay, we should check it out. And we watch it and I'm like, whoa, like this is too relatable in terms of moving and all that stuff. And we like literally like finished the movie. We like watched it over like 3 nights because we would be like working and then just we'd fall asleep and stuff like that. But we ended up finishing it like right before she had to leave. And I was like, oh my God, like this is too much. It's like, it was like emotionally taxing and bearing to like get to watch that, like that story unveil. for us, as we are like then now separated, and it's like, oh man, like um that, yeah, it was tough. How was your trip to Oregon, other than like what you described? Like how was it with the four, or maybe and the kids too, and like to like hang out? Like did you guys do your own thing more, or like it was mainly together with hanging out with your friend?
It was largely hanging out together with my best friend and his wife and his kids.
Very nice.
We got there. So it we kind of planned the trip around our spring break. So we had a week off. Kids were out of school, but also not with us. So had a few days that we could get out of town.
Yeah.
But it was still kind of like when we got there. I think the first day that we were there was the last day of school for their older daughter. Um, and then the next day was the 2-year-old's actually birthday, turned two on that day. So they were kind of in transition of not ready to go anywhere themselves. It was going to be their spring break, getting into their spring break time the fall that week. Um, so they were still kind of like in their daily life, and this
Yeah.
was just an opportunity for us to drop in and
Yeah.
spend some time with them. So, and since I hadn't seen him in so long, and my partner had never met my best friend or his wife, so it was just a time to kind of be together. And really, we spent a lot of time with their kids. It was all of them together, but they have wonderful kids, and their kids just latched on to us. Um, I'm one of the things I'm realizing now that especially as I'm becoming an older dad is I'm a kid person. I'm good with kids. Um, Whether I like it or not, they like me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
But you
and
said
so
you're a kid person, so like
I
it's
am.
from
I
their
mean, I work with
perspective
the.
or your perspective?
Well, this is one of the. It always it blows my mind when it blows my mind, blows my heart open. When kids choose me, when kids, it's like you ever go to somebody's house and they're like, they introduce you to their dog or their cat, and they're like, "Oh yeah, they're not really a people person," but then they jump on their lap
Yeah,
and they're
yeah.
like, "Oh, they never do that," and it's like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, it feels really good." It's like,
Yeah.
or even if it's a cat that loves everybody's lap, it's like when they get in your lap, it like feels really good.
Yeah.
It's even bigger than that when it's a little kid,
Yeah.
because kids are really good at like discerning. Most kids are really good at discerning safe and unsafe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the first day that I met the 7-year-old I had met when I guess she was
Yeah.
about 2 or 3 when I met her.
Right.
But she said she remembered me, and it's possible she did. She's a very smart kid, so it's possible she remembered me. But she was instant friends with both me and my partner, just like in our arms, just loving.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the 2-year-old was the one that really kind of blew me away, because within, you know, 30-45 minutes of meeting her, really, we went on a little hike to kind of see the property, and they let her down on the ground, and she was running, and at one point she just came running right up to me and like arms open and jumped into my arms and was like, just got into my arms. She's just like talking and happy.
Yeah.
Kids don't usually do that. Small kids don't go jump into a stranger's
Right.
arms that early without like really getting to know you. And so it was, just feels really good. There was a few moments with both the kids like that
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
were really heartwarming. Um, but we hung out. So it was just kind of like family time, good dinners. Got to celebrate a birthday. My best friend owns. He's got 2 properties there. It's like a 30-acre property where his house is, and then he has an adjacent. I think it's 130 acres
Yeah.
that was previously owned by
Mm.
a Buddhist lama. So it's like, and it was owned, they had it for like 30 years. So it's just this really cool property. It's got a large Buddhist statue on it. It's got a shrine room. It's got all these, it's just really interesting place. that he's been building up. He's got people who live on the property. He's trying to build something out of that property, maybe a place where people can do retreats, corporate retreats, yoga retreats, things like that.
Yeah.
So it was great. Driving around Central Oregon, but it was just largely hanging out, family time, getting to know one another. Yeah.
Those opportunities of like getting to be with someone when they're in their routine compared to like you planning out like a travel vacation together or something. I think what I find most valuable is being able to actually be together under the same roof, because it's just those are the opportunities where you get to like bond the most. It's like, even if you're like, that's one of the things that like, I love road trips, and it's about actually being trapped in the car for hours is what's the most favorite part, rather than wherever we're gonna end up being and exploring that area and whatever. Like those could be fun too, but it's these things where it's like, I don't think if it wasn't for this excuse of we gotta cut this distance, that we're sitting together all here, like most likely without like massive screens and things like that, and we just get to like get creative with how we're gonna spend time in that little chamber. And so those are the things that I cherish the most, for sure.
Yeah, it makes me think of sunsets and sunrises.
Yeah.
Because to get to see a beautiful sunset and a beautiful sunrise required a journey, because you don't get to sit in your comfortable lounger chair at home
Oh
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and a beautiful sunset and sunrise appear before you. And if it did, would it really? How deeply would it resonate?
Yeah.
The journey that it takes to see that sunset tends to be the depth in which that sunset really hits.
Yeah.
If all I got to
And
do
you
is,
woke up really
if
early,
I got to
like, man.
wake up, walk
Yeah.
15 minutes, walk
Yeah.
15 steps outside of my back door, and there's a sunset. It's like, oh, there's a beautiful sunset, but I see that every day.
Yeah.
If I had to like go on a
Yeah.
8 hour or,
Right.
imagine a 3 to 6 week wagon ride across country to go to the West Coast. And then all of a sudden you see your first sunset of like the California coast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Right.
that probably resonates a little bit differently than if you just wake up and like, oh, hey, look, right outside my
Sunset.
door is a beautiful
Yeah.
sunset.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, the journey I think brings so much richness, and it's really, there's something in this where I go to the suffering, the pain, right? I think our suffering and our pain is really where the richness of beauty that we derive in life comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And suffering is a heavy word for sitting in a car with 8 hours talking to, being bored. But
But there's a little
there's
bit.
a level of
Yeah.
suffering that is. It's
Yeah.
grueling. It's hard. It's, you get
Yeah.
out and it's like your body aches, and it's like, oh, it's a hardship. It's not necessarily easy. But that is what, like, there's something in that richness that you get, that you're doing when you do it with other people. You're sharing it together. The what you get to learn from, like, seeing how they respond to their suffering and how they
Right.
see you respond to your suffering. Like, oh man, and then when we get to see the sunset together, and we have this shared experience. Yeah, that I'm in a complete agreement. I always look back on my favorite moments in life, like the experiences, and usually they have a beautiful sunset at the end, but it's not the sunset that I talk about or am drawn to.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah. The
everything
stories
that
in
led up
between.
to it, the
Yeah.
stories that got to it, that really matter to me the most.
Yeah. 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 We were talking about relationship, and we were talking about there's like a version of us that's in the past that is ingrained in our partners, like mine, and then they're holding on to that, and you're kind of grieving that, and it's like interesting because like there are parts of me that my partner got to experience, like me being in the city, like when we're together and stuff, and she's she's experienced that, I'm sure, before, but there's just more of those opportunities now because like I grew up in India, and like so it's a crowded space. Like no matter where you live, it's a crowded space. And so then being in that space again, like it's like there's something innately within me that just it will get activated. It's like I'm not waiting around. Like I'm I'm going, like somebody's like doing something and I'm like, yo, what, like there's this like animal in me that comes out, and it usually doesn't really come out like if I'm not in that kind of crowded space and stuff. And it's like it's fun and game, but it's it's definitely it's certainly not something that people around me would get to experience a lot more unless they see me in these specific like situations, you know. And for me that's fun too, because even myself, I'm not familiar with that version of myself because those don't get activated that often. But like being in the city, I'm like, oh yeah, like it's kind of what we were saying. It's like it's not necessarily like chaotic. There's an organized chaos happening, and like those rules, I get it. Like I already know. Cool. Like we don't have to wait around for this crosswalk, like, like lights. Like we just use the common sense. Like I'm not gonna get run over. Cool. Like I'm gonna keep walking. All these things. Uh,
Yes, and watch out for those freaking bikes, man. You take a step off a curb, like they're
no, and here, like because it's electric, like bikes and all this stuff, man. Like the delivery people, they're on a different like road. It feels like
yeah,
it's the
yeah.
same, but it's like they're going through some other stuff. But I love it. I mean, all of that, like that energy, I love it. Like that chaotic energy. I'm like, yes, like I want to be a part of that. Like it hasn't gotten overwhelming for me, like one bit. Like I come out of the station and you're just in it. And I'm like, oh my God, like, yes. Um,
How's the new job? You said that's kind of like building a new relationship as well.
yeah, it's onboarding, and I have not worked in a massive organization like that. And so it is very interesting to to say the least, to get to experience like the know-hows of things, because it has organizations, but of course there's like tentacles. It feels like there's tentacles in every single thing, and it there's like definitely a feeling of overwhelmingness from that point of view, because it's like they're doing it all. And in the past, I may have been a part of a smaller corner of that. Um, in my previous job, I may have helped organizations like this, but also still only working on a very smaller corner of a project. And I think that, yes, I'm still going to be working in a smaller corner of that organization. But at the same time, like my perspective is that from everything that I've done before, I'm going to have to actually get a grasp of a lot more from a zoom out perspective, and get to in the beginning, learn all of that landscape and capture like, okay, what's all happening here? What are the processes here? Who are the people here? What matters? And then be able to like, so that's all learning, and then be able to like actually influence change, because that's kind of my role, where it's like they're trying to do something here and they may not necessarily know what the entire landscape looks like, but that's where I come in, where I get to actually see what the landscape looks like, and I get to influence like, hey, like the solution that you're wanting to seek, it might solve here, but it might be creating a large, like a bigger problem. Here's a better solution that actually like addresses a larger picture, and this is why it matters. And so my job is really like, uh, it's both technical, but then also like requires a lot of soft skills, will require a lot of soft skills in that way. And so to me, that's like very, very exciting when I think about like what it would be like months down the road, maybe years down the road, of the capacity of growth that I can have. So that's like optimism. I feel I the experience of feeling that I get is like optimism, joy, um, sense of ownership, and gratitude, and fulfillment in that way. And then when I zoom in on the immediate like future, then there's like overwhelmingness, and I gotta the feeling of impatience like comes in, wanting to fast forward, like, oh yeah. So there's a tug of war happening in that way, but I feel very supported, and I feel um like I'm gonna be granted enough um resources and time to get myself oriented with the whole landscape. And there's no like sense of urgency in that way. It's not like they're expecting me to just like, hey, here's a fire, like, man, you need to figure this out, like yesterday kind of thing, you know?
Right.
And there's someone that that's kind of modeling what I could do too. And that like for me, when I look at that person, uh I get a positive feeling about like, oh yeah, like this is what I would could be doing or want to be doing or they expect me to do also. And it's not all just like blank slate per se, and the expectations are unclear. It's not like that.
Can you I'm curious, so I'm 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 curious of more about the job. You
Hmm.
said the size. I don't know how much you can share, but just kind of like overview. Like, how big is the company? What are you now? Are you getting to manage like a group of people, or are you more still kind of consultant? So I'm curious, like how that looks, because it sounds like you're getting a little leveling up, and you're being tasked with something new and more than you've done before, which
Yeah.
means that
Yeah.
you're actually being forced to level up in order to meet the new job. So I'm just kind of curious
Yeah.
what all that
Yeah.
what all that is and what it looks like.
Yeah. I'll definitely share more. And I think what will help is actually drawing a contrast. So what I'd done previously would be I would work on one project at a time with clients. So I could be working on a company like the company that I'm working for. And then within that, other people might have like laid out an outline of the project. And then I would be part of one person, part of the team that will then go and execute that outline. They're like, this is what we need to do. And I'll be like, okay, cool. Like this is where I come in and I can do these things. So very siloed, but I'm also working one project like at a time. So that could happen for like 6 months. And then my company will deliver that project. And then they'll have someone else. And then there will be a different project. And I go in and largely do the same thing. And then the new job though is there's people like that that's going to be doing that. That's going to be doing like the execution part of things. But my role is to actually understand. So at the company, um, they do they do like A through Z when it comes to science to medicine. Like literally their tag is like science to medicine. So they'll start with discovery process. So that's usually called research and development, where they're just figuring out like, hey, does this molecule, if we tweak it this way, will this help this disease? Will this help this? They're just, but none of that is like it's kind of like the Wild West. None of that is like very well defined per se. It's a scientific process. It's scrappy. You gotta test hypotheses, and you're just scoping out so many things. So there's that process. If that's one side of the spectrum, the other side of the spectrum is like when you get to a manufacturing of a medicine. There's no like it's not Wild West. It's like we know the formula. It's got to be this structure. We got to pump out like X amount. It's got to be done in these like environments, in a clean environment, all that stuff, because this is going to get, people are going to be consuming, humans are going to be consuming this. It's like approved by the FDA and all of that stuff, right? So that's the other side of the spectrum. And in between that is like, you're going from this state to the other state. And the group that I get to help is that middle part where they're not part of the research and development. They're not part of manufacturing, but they're actually called preclinical. Um, and process development group. So they're really taking the research, the scrappiness of that, and they're basically streamlining different processes, and they're getting to take those scientific processes and lead them towards this like very standardized process. But it's kind of cool because they're not like super organized. They don't have to be as organized as like the manufacturing, but they're not as scrap. They can't like be as scrappy as the art research and development. And but they don't have to have the requirements like it doesn't have to be like in the GMP facility. So that's a facility that's like a clean environment and all that stuff. They don't have to actually follow all those rules. So there can still be some room for innovation or like if there's new technology that's out there, they can still kind of embrace that a lot more without having to worry about like repercussions per se. And my role specifically is to actually empower that group when it comes to like their digital data technology. So all those people are actually generating like terabytes and terabytes of data, and they're organizing, they're producing different types of data, and they need access to this kind of data in this way, all that stuff. And there's a whole like architecture, a digital architecture that's like orchestrating all of that for them. And so my job is to work with the entire another set of group of team that's literally that's a different organization. It's called like research and development IT. So it's IT, but they're enabling these kind of groups in the scientific processes. And in that, my job is to basically be this communicator between like IT folks that know data, that know like how architectures work, that know like software development, all of that stuff. My job is to bridge those groups of people with the scientists that are actually like, this is the kind of data that we produce. This is what we do. This is the workflow. I need to have access to these things. And my job is to like basically bridge those two and help the end users, which are really the scientists, making sure that they actually get to have their processes as streamlined as possible when it comes to whatever they need in terms of their digital data.
Awesome. And the way you're describing that, all I can hear is we turn chaos into order.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's really the systems level of thinking for me, for sure. And I think what's really interesting is that I get to do that in the world of science. That's the world that I come from. And then more and more I've learned more about technology and solutions like that, and I get to leverage that as well without actually having to like be at the desk like doing hardcore like coding per se. Like I get to let someone else like do that. I've done a little bit of that in my previous experience. That's what I mean is like project at a time I could do a little bit of that, but now I get to really just be like, this is what we need to do, and then I can kind of somewhat speak their language too. And so if they're like, hey, like, what do you really need? Like, you got to speak my language, and I'm able to speak that language also.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How big is the company? You kind of mentioned the size, feeling a little overwhelming.
I don't know how to answer that question really, like, because I don't know. Like, I mean, it's other than saying massive, but it's with like J&J, Pfizer. It's like it's among those players, and so here they have multiple sites. The
like around the country or around the world?
Around the country, and then also around the world. Like there are some sites in Europe and things like that. And then this is the main headquarters, and so we have like 8 to 10 buildings here, and then they're actually they're expanding and building like another 4 or 5 new buildings, like a completely different campus, an extension of that campus. And so it's massive. Yeah, like when I first came here and you visit, like the feeling that I got was like, oh, this is not going anywhere. Like this is, it definitely has that presence. Yeah.
Very
I get to see a lot of people, man, and it's kind of invigorating in that way too, because I go in person, so it's not remote work. So I'm seeing like almost like dozens and hundreds of people that are just strangers walking around and stuff, and in cafes and working from places. And so there's like that social dynamic aspect of it. Even though I may not be talking to them, you feel it.
There's an aspect of your position that sounds almost godlike, and I'll explain what I mean by that. Chaos, like the chaos, and what I mean by chaos being like chaos is what creativity comes out of.
Yeah.
Right, because creativity is like intangible. It's not a specific thing. It's not ordered yet. We have to pull it out of that chaos. And how do we, as we pull it out of chaos, what things that are coming out of chaos are actually tangibly worth holding and holding on to? Because a lot of things come out of chaos and you just got to let them go because that sounded cool, but it didn't really work.
Yeah.
Who is it, like the one in the middle who's making those decisions, cut or go? Like it's a little godlike.
Or how? Like how do we?
Or how? Yeah. How it works, and to even be able to do that, to be able to like recognize what we got to prune, what we got to, it's gardening, right? Like that's the godlike. That's the godlike. It's being a gardener. And to be that position means that you have to have it levels your consciousness up.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like there's a consciousness in which, we're small children and our world is just us and those who feed us, right? It's a very small world. We don't have any understanding of like what other people think of us. We only know us and somebody's feeding us.
Right.
And as we get older, we start to, it's like, oh, I am not just me. There's other people and they think you're getting to levels in which you have to be able to see the infinite complexity of chaos,
right,
and how that infinite chaos feeds into the very real structure of what is here and now, how we turn chaos into order.
Yeah.
And in order to be able to prune and select, you have to you have to raise your consciousness to orders that put you outside of that so that you can view in it. Because if you're inside of it trying to see things, you can't actually see everything.
Yeah. And I think the part of my thing is like, I think this is going to be a constant thing for me, is going to be this notion of pulling out and zooming in and zooming out, like on the regular, like multiple times a day kind of thing, depending on the meetings, because I could be in meetings where somebody wants a very zoomed in, like specific task or some specific questioning. And the next meeting could be like, oh, like how does this all fit in? Like, and so that's going to really challenge me in the same way that you're describing here as well. It's like, it's having that like capacity to like analyze things in that way.
Yeah, that's a great skill set. It's challenging, and what it will what you get out of it, obviously you get a paycheck, right? But beyond that, like it grows your mind, it grows your expertise, it grows on a large level what you're going to be capable of doing beyond the job. Like where, at some point you may move on and go to something else, but your skill set will go with you.
I have the capacity with me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah, it'll take me like months. But that's part of the journey. Like I think I'm expected to go through that.
I mean, it sounds like a position where 6 months is where you really start. Like it'll take you 6 months just to get your feet on the ground, and then 6 months to really get started. And it's really at a year where you're doing the job that they hired you for.
Yeah, and I think that's like, that is the investment that they've made with me. Yeah, it's cool.
Excellent.
I think this is a good place where we could end.